So now we're going to talk about vegetables that do not like the refrigerator for various reasons, very different reasons. So first thing you do not put in the refrigerator is a tomato. Tomatoes get weird and like bland and waxy when you put them in the fridge. I don't know why. Like they do last longer, absolutely, but they lose like 50% of their flavor. So these guys should never go in the fridge. Like if you're gonna have tomatoes, you're not gonna use them for like a week, I just wouldn't buy them. I would wait to buy them because putting them in the fridge really decreases the amount of time that they taste good, right? And plus the fridge dries them out, and if you put them in a bag, they tend to get moldy because tomatoes are very delicate and very soft, and they're just kind of high maintenance fruits in general. I call it a fruit because technically it's a fruit, even though we consider it a vegetable because it's not super sweet. So these guys, onions and garlic, these are alliums. So these guys can't go in the fridge because they dry out really quickly. And actually putting them in the fridge causes some interesting chemical changes that makes them taste differently and not last as long. But there actually is a quick trick to your onion if you cry. As long as you don't forget about it, because if you forget about it, you're screwed. You can actually throw your onion in the freezer for like 10 minutes. And I had a chef once tell me that would actually congeal some of the chemicals inside the onion to keep you from crying. Like, I don't know, I always cry anyway. I don't know if it really helped him, but I thought it was a funny story. Also, if you put these guys in a moist environment, they will sprout. Like, not so much onions, though they will eventually, but like garlic, if you put it in a moist environment, especially a moist, dark environment, it actually thinks it's in the dirt. It thinks it's in the earth, and it will grow. It will start to grow, and you'll pop open your little garlic cloves, and you'll notice that they have green in the middle, and that green is actually really bitter, and you can try and cut out the green part and just pitch it and then use the rest, and you can do it, it's fine. But once the garlic starts to sprout, like the garlic is not nearly as flavorful because it's actually begun to serve its purpose. These are technically seeds, or I'm sure there's some like botanical term because they're not seeds, and there's some other scientific term that I don't know, but these basically, every little clove will sprout a new garlic plant. So if you put this in a cool, dark, moist area, like every one of these will start to sprout thinking that it's time to make more garlic. So you want to generally keep these in a really dry, dark area. Potatoes. Do not put these in the fridge because they actually start manufacturing sugar, like they're gonna make more potatoes. So I don't know if you've ever grown potatoes, but you can actually just cut pieces of your potato off wherever the eyes are, throw them in the ground, and they will grow a whole new potato plant. So if you put this in a cold environment, it actually starts to germinate, right? And you can't eat it when it turns green. Like it's really not good for you to eat a green potato. I would not recommend it. But storing them in the fridge is actually a problem. So you also want to put these in a cool, dry, dark environment. Because if you leave them in the sun, they'll turn green as well, because again, they think they're germinating. So you generally don't want to put these anywhere but in like a cool, dark space with very little moisture. But also potatoes, now that I say moisture, potatoes also dry out a little bit. So you don't actually want to store them for that long because the little eyes will start to grow and they'll shrivel up and get weird. If your potatoes get funky, just toss them and get new ones. This is generally why I recommend against buying like a 10-pound bag of potatoes unless you have a family of like 8 and you eat potatoes daily. Storing potatoes for a long term is kind of an exercise in futility and it's just not worth it. And now you've got this guy. This is a butternut squash. So these guys don't like the fridge, but they do like cold. So these are like root cellar type vegetables, right? And so they like cold environments. They like dark environments. You can't keep this out and in the sun. Same with pumpkins, same with other kind of winter squash, because they seem really hard and durable, but they're still living plants, right? So last summer, last fall, I had some pumpkins that I grew and I harvested, and I left one sitting on the table because I wanted to cook it, and then I forgot about it, and then it actually turned green again. And I was like, oh, damn it. And then I put it back in the closet and it turned back to orange. So they changed colors all different ways. And that was actually new to me. I didn't know they would do that. But if you keep this in a sunny spot, it will turn green. And if you keep it in a warm spot, it will mold and develop soft spots and start to rot. So these guys you also want to keep in a cold, dark, low moisture, like root cellar type environment. And so like if you have a cold garage, actually it's a really good place to store these guys. Like if you live in a cold climate, like during the wintertime where the air is really dry and you have a garage where it's dark and cold, that's actually a great place to store these guys. And they'll keep a lot longer. If you put them in the fridge, they won't last very long. If you put them in a cupboard where it's really warm, like in your kitchen, they won't last very long. For the love of God, please do not put them in a plastic bag. Like I don't know if you've ever opened up like a 5 or 10 pound sack of potatoes that have been kept in a plastic bag, and like there's just like eyes growing all over the place. Like they look like reindeer almost, and it's because they're responding to the moisture that's trapped in the bag. So if you want to like contain your potatoes, or if you want to contain your onions or contain your garlic or even your squash, even though they tend to be kind of big, you do not want to put them in plastic bags. They're good in a cardboard box with air circulation or a paper bag that hasn't been sealed, sort of like the mushrooms. Like you just put them in the bag and like leave the top like just lightly folded, and it keeps them contained, but it also allows for air circulation to keep them alive and moist and breathing.